Welcome, everybody, to Together We Serve. Let me ask you a question. I'm going to pull this question up. It's a great question. Are you a warrior for mental health? I want you to think about that for a second. Have you been affected personally, family, friends? A lot of us have, and probably most of us have since COVID and all the stats that you see. My guest today is a warrior for mental health. She's got her own story. But I want you to think about that as you're listening to our show today, how you could be better, help and support people with mental health, and get the resources to make a difference like Kelli is. I want to bring Kelli to the show. Kelli, welcome.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
Why should I make mental health matter?
Oh, my favorite question. My nonprofit is called Make Mental Health Matter. And the reason why I have that name is because we have to take action towards our mental health. So we want to make mental health matter. We don't want to just talk about it. I'm sure you've heard people say mental health matters or let's talk about mental health. But what are we really doing? We're just talking about it, but we really need to take that action behind making mental health matter. So that's why my nonprofit, I founded it in 2017. Well, it was a thought in 2017, and then I founded it in 2018 after I lost my middle sister to a completed suicide on February 20th, 2017. And I just knew I wanted to do something. I wanted to help people. I wanted to understand. And that's why I started my nonprofit. Even if I could only help one person at a time, that was my ultimate goal. And we've shifted and pivoted and changed. We used to formally go by BCC Evolution. That is still our name with the IRS, but we are going by our DBA, which is Make Mental Health Matter, because we are having conversations and getting people educated about mental health, suicide prevention, and substance abuse. They all kind of wrap in together, but really that education been being proactive versus reactive.
Love a legacy business foundation, honoring your sister. And, my thoughts go out. I've told you this before, losing your sister. But right now, she's probably super happy what you're doing because you're making a difference in the world, right?
Yes. Yeah. And there were so many years that I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. And sometimes I still really feel that way. But I have had so many people come to me and say, had you not asked me the question if I was suicidal, or had you not given me the resources, then I don't know if I would still be here. And that's when it really hit my heart that I was like, wow, I actually am making a difference and I am saving lives. And just allowing somebody to talk without judgment has been the biggest thing that I've been able to learn and be able to do.
Why the word warrior? A lot of words you could use, leader, and not that it's wrong, but there's got to be an inspiration behind that.
Yeah, when we were brainstorming like the words, and I don't know, when I originally started, I said that my nonprofit was a place for survivors, a place for warriors, and a place for those left behind. And in my mind, a warrior means somebody who has been through an experience, whether they have attempted suicide, they have had mental health challenges, substance abuse challenges, and then they get through that part of their life, and or like fighter is the word that comes up into my head, but I know that can be triggering for some people, so I try not to use that word. But they fought through the battle and they are a warrior because they're still standing. But it also is for those of us that have lost somebody to suicide or overdose. We are also warriors ourselves because this is a journey that you can't really explain to anybody. It's just an experience that's hard to explain. And I think that we battle through as warriors every single day.
Well, and that said, you must be in my head because I was a segue into that, the trigger and communication. Because as you know, and I've talked to people, it's like, my friend is having mental health issues. I don't know what to say. What do
Yeah.
we say?
Yeah, that's a wonderful question too. And I would say there's no wrong answer. We're gonna fumble. Things might come out of our mouth that we're even like, where the heck did that come from? But honestly, the simplest tool that I have for people is listening. Silence is probably the most powerful tool that you can have in your tool belt, because when you allow somebody to express whatever is going on in their head and you just simply listen, no judgment, not trying to fix them. People are not broken. They may have small fractures, but we are not broken. We do not need to be fixed. But when you can simply listen non judgmentally and allow somebody to express whatever is going through their head, that is the first simplest tool that I can give to people, and the easiest. Well, I guess it's not that easy because sometimes our brain like goes into all different places, but that's one of my highly recommended tools that you pull out when you're trying to help somebody that might be expressing suicidal thoughts, going through a mental health or substance abuse challenge.
You talked about that in my podcast, and I love that. It's really simple because we all want to, especially if you've got a big heart, a servant heart, you've got a soul, you want to help. But it's time, and I say shut up and listen is probably the best thing you could do, because probably that's probably what they want to do is just voice it out. You take it in, and they don't want a response. And that happens with a lot of things besides mental health. But here's a question that just came to me. You've probably been asked, but I'm always curious about. So I'm talking to somebody with mental health, and I feel a trigger happening, or they're saying something like, I don't want to live on this world anymore, or those type of things that go. What do we do then as we're having that conversation that leads to something like that?
Yeah, I mean, there's so many different, I guess, tools or tricks that you can use. But if somebody is truly expressing suicidal thoughts, it is again really easy to go into like our own minds of like, why are you feeling this way? What's bringing that up? Right? Like going into the why questions. But the better way is to reframe that and ask open-ended questions. You can even the fastest way to really understand, because our brain loves clarity, we can ask two questions, and that is, are you thinking about suicide? Are you thinking about killing yourself? And I know those sound really harsh, but again, the brain loves clarity. And if they're truly feeling that way, sometimes it actually makes them feel relieved when somebody asks those questions, because they're like, oh, wow, I can trust you. And oh, wow, you really care. And so they may open up to you what is actually going on. But again, it's kind of peeling back those layers of like, why or what is making you feel this way, not the whys, but what is making you feel this way? How can we get you safe for now? And that's one of the biggest lessons that I've learned, is that suicide or suicidal thoughts in general are time limited, like the action part of it, of when they take action towards. And if we can get them through those thoughts and get them safe for now until they can get professional help or use self-care strategies or holistic strategies, then we can actually start to save lives.
Wow, that was a very intelligent answer. I'm listening to you, my head's spinning like that is because you're not telling them, are you thinking about, you're offering a question of, are you really thinking about it? Or is it, which happens a lot, I've seen it, people try it, they're not really want to die by suicide. And that's a quick thing that I know Kelli knows. Hey, for you out there, I've learned from other professionals, don't say die by suicide, not committed suicide. And you've told me about that. It's a lesson I've learned, I'm working with, because it changes the whole framing of how they took their life. It's a game changer. I've used that a lot. No, so I like the intelligent how you're answering that, because my first thought is, okay, who do I connect them with? Doctor, do I call their mother? Is that something to think about too, or avoid that?
Yeah, no, definitely. So my lights just went off. Sorry. I'm like,
Yeah,
I
it's
have to
okay.
move for them to
You
come
look
back on.
perfect. You look great.
I was like, wow, my face got really bright. So the live TV.
Yeah.
When somebody expresses those thoughts, yes. So it's really like, who's their trusted person? I may not be their trusted, or you may not, and that's okay. Honestly, we need to have them connect with somebody that they trust, and we need to get them into somebody that can help. So really great resources inside the United States is 988. It is not 911, it is 988, and that's the new National Suicide Prevention Lifeline. You can also I actually, it's kind of interesting that we're talking about this, because I just took a training this last week on Monday and Tuesday, and it's called Assist. It's Applied Suicide Intervention Skills Training. And it was probably one of the best trainings that I have done within all the learnings that I've now acquired over the past 7 years. And it really teaches you how to have those conversations, because it's not a conversation that we have every single day, but we can get them the help that they need. And if we can get them to a trusted person that will be able to talk to them about what's going on, because again, sometimes it's not us. And sometimes, like if you're a parent of a child that might be expressing suicidal thoughts, you may not be their trusted person. And I know that's a hard pill to swallow, but when we can open up that conversation, ask the open-ended questions to get a little bit more information, and then we can create a safety plan together. We want to collaborate on this process. It's not me telling you what to do, it's us together. What do you feel comfortable with doing? Who is it that you feel comfortable talking to? And how can we make this plan together so that we're getting to this next phase of, are you going to talk to a psychologist? Are you going to a holistic provider? Like, who's that person that can work on like the deeper issues that are happening?
I'm going to tell you right now, you're incredible, because your 7 years of training, you're not just starting a foundation, taking money and, hey, here's where to go. You're trying to, well, you are learning the best ways to help people deal with this, or you deal with it when you get people. And I love you for that. I seriously, because a lot of people start foundations and think, I'm going to save whales. I don't know why I keep picking that one. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. But do they learn about it and understand it? Will you have a complete understanding with this? So I want to make that point, because that's so powerful. Together we serve. It's about community. How can we serve as a community? Talk about your community and how you serve mental health.
Yeah, so we, again, ours is all education based. So everything that we do is education, from our classes to our events to me speaking on stages. I also have my own show, which Steve, you came on. It's called Make Mental Health Matter Show. And I ultimately bring people resources. So there are lots and lots of resources out in this world. However, we may not know about all of them. So I'm trying to bring them on my show to be able to offer any tips or tools, because I learn every single day. There is no way that we can go about this world and not learn. So I want to up level my skills all the time. And that's really, I mean, my whole goal is to get people to be proactive versus reactive. And I know that's hard, because most people that come to me are when a family member is in crisis or they are like severely struggling. But how cool would it be to be in a place that these are just open conversations every single day? Like, I'm walking down the street and somebody says, "Hey, how you doing?" And you're like, "You know what? I'm having a really crappy day, but that's okay. I'm not looking for you to fix me. I'm not looking for you to change my situation. I just need you to know about that." And that's okay. So we're just really trying to change that conversation with my nonprofit and open up this space that we can really truly start to save lives through conversation and connection.
How important or unimportant is isolation for people dealing with mental health?
Oh, it is not a good thing.
Yeah.
So COVID has taught us a lot of things, right? So although I don't really like to talk about the pandemic. Nobody really does. But we have found, especially in the mental health space, we know we're all mammals. We are not conditioned to be isolated. We are conditioned for connection and community. And that's why we really are seeing now some of the effects that are coming out of COVID, because we were isolated. We didn't have that connection. And even if you are a person that is more introverted in energy, you probably found that by the end of being isolated, you're like, I need people. And that goes the same way. We need that connection. We need the community. And that is actually been scientifically proven that those two things are what will actually start to save people's lives, especially as we talk about mental health and suicide. So those are just some things that we just need to start focusing on, is that community and the connection.
Yeah, and COVID, and here's the crazy thing about mental health, and it's probably the wrong word to use, but yeah, it is the wrong word. But let's leave the context. It's been around for, I mean, suicide's been around for 20, 30. I mean, I'm 63. I know in my 20s people have, died by suicide. Did COVID just like amp the game up? Or has it just always been there and we just aware of it now because of COVID?
So I think it's a little bit of twofold. One, there is a lot more people in this world. Two, we have access to media at our fingertips. And so, and I guess the other thing is that it's probably being reported more. So we have the ability to know the stats, but also it has been amped up due to that isolation piece and not knowing where to go. I know at least, so I'm in Colorado and we are at the bottom for mental health resources. I mean, we used to be 50 of 50 and now we're 31. So we're starting to get better, but it all depends on where you live and what access you have to resources. And so that's part of the conversation that we have, is like, how can we make this better? How can we bring resources to people?
Are you seeing the government more involved with grants, funding, or resources as well?
Yes, Colorado is trying. They really are trying. There is a lot of talk about mental health. And I do want to say, like, mental health is our brain. We all have brains. But we don't all have mental health challenges, disease, disorders, whatever you want to call it. I like the word challenge. But we are talking about getting access to resources more and more today than we ever have, which is a huge positive. And they are also talking about it within schools, which, if you really want to get, I totally nerd out on these things, but school is where we need, like, kids start showing signs of mental health challenges as young as 8, and it's getting younger and younger. And suicide is getting younger and younger. So we need to start offering more services and getting more people involved, and they're trying. It's
Yeah.
just, it's a slow process.
No, and it's hard, and it's cancer's out there, and all the ALS, and we got a lot of things going on. It's just another added thing, and it's not going to be easy. If it was, these be all taken care of. On the in the social media aspect, bullying, judgment, all the stuff these kids deal with social media. What's the answer to that? There's not an answer, but what's a moving forward step that parents can do to keep their children from this exposure of all this that leads to mental health?
Yeah, I mean, bullying is its own uh area of subject. If you really want to talk about that, it starts with the parents. Most of the time, bullies are being bullied, and it is a learned behavior. So if you really digest that and you're a parent, you might have to look at yourself. And that's kind of hard to do also. But most of the time, there's a history of a learned behavior when we talk about bullying, or there's an underlying, whether it's a mental health challenge, a physical challenge, like something within that kid is causing them to lash out is the word that I'm going to use. That may not be the right word, but most of the time, bullying is a learned behavior or a pack mentality. And so we have to get better as parents. We have to get better as teachers. We have to get better as caregivers to call out the kids when they are behaving badly. And I just don't think that schools do enough in that space. And we know that, but how can we change it? And I mean, it's been something from like way back in the day, right? Like sarcasm. If you think about sarcasm, it's a form of bullying. We don't always necessarily think about that. And so there's a lot of layers to that, but I think we just have to be better as adults and humans in how we raise and treat youth, because they're just like little sponges. They just absorb everything.
Yeah, and it's I want to mention the social media on Netflix. It's a documentary we've talked about. I know you're an advocate for it, like I am. Be prepared, audience, when you watch it. It's what's the word I want to use, Kelly? It's enlightening,
Rough.
but not in a good way. Rough. That's a great word. It's rough. But if you want to learn more about what this is all about, there's a place for social media. We're both not saying it shouldn't be there, but like anything else, school, educations. We'll talk about education. How important is that?
Yeah, so that's like I guess one of my other soapboxes. Education, the aspect of education is, I think that it's all about socialization. I mean, if you look at public schools, private schools even, but schools in general, it's all about the socialization aspect. If you think about grade school, K through 12, it's about socialization. And any any kid can go Google things now, right? They can go use a chat GPT. Like they can find the information at their fingertips. But what they really need to learn in school now is the socialization aspect. Finances would be a great thing. I think we should bring back home ec and wood shop. Like those things were really, really important. I think we should learn how to balance a checkbook. I think that we should learn how to do the dishes. I think we should learn how to take care of the finances as far as when you move out from your home. I think there's a lot of other things that can really truly be learned within education right now, especially those social skills. Like that's what I think education should be for. And I think it's important for kids to be a part of that and go to school and have the ability to be able to learn those skills.
Yeah, and we know the education, the school system, it needs work. Let's just be flat out honest. It does, and what that is, I mean, you're not going to answer that. I'm not going to speak for you, but you understand. We can't change that. So mental health challenge, and I like that. I think I like the word challenge because it means you can overachieve it. When it's a challenge, you can work hard to overachieve it. There's so many legs to this. There's bullying, there's addiction, more than the three that you said. What do you think is the one that's the most harm? Does the most harm, actually?
I've never been asked that question before. I mean, I know for a fact that like bullying leads to so many of the other things, right? Story that when I first started my nonprofit in 2018, we started mental health first aid classes, which is like first aid, but for your brain. And we had a mother and a grandmother of a 9-year-old that had just died by suicide in the class. And it was due to bullying. The reason why he died was due to bullying. And it leads to, I mean, there's so many people, especially that I bring even on my show, they talk about when they were younger and they were bullied, and then it led to whether it was substance abuse or suicidal thoughts. They just keep kind of piling on top of each other, and then eventually, because it's like trauma after trauma after trauma after trauma, it's got to go somewhere. And most of the time, it's either into suicidal thoughts or behaviors or into substance abuse, or you can be one of the lucky ones that you decide to just change it all up and you go towards the wellness side. I think eventually we all go through some sort of that journey, and then we find wellness, and whatever that looks like for you is perfect. And I think that we have to find what works for us. But I would say, if I were to answer that question, I think that it comes down to bullying, because every single story I have ever heard, there's something at some point that they talk about the bullying.
So I love being a host. You just taught me something. I never thought about it that way, but you're right. It's kind of the catalyst to all these other things, judgment, and, like you called it, sarcasm, which, I'm 63. My brothers and sisters used to tease me all the time. Sometimes it was good, sometimes it wasn't, but I didn't lead to this. And it's a different world now with the exposure that you're talking about. It's like you said, a 5-year-old could pull up their phone and find something. 5 years old.
Yeah.
5 years old, I could barely learn how to eat pasta, let alone put the internet. Yeah. And we laugh with Justin, and we're not laughing at this but what I want to do, because I think mental health, it becomes so serious, Kelli, where it's like, not that we're making fun of it, but let's move it, bring the needle back to, let's be positive about it in the sense of, how can we support? What are things we can do? And I think you're doing some great things with that. With that being said, we're going to take a break because Kelli's been talking the whole time. She needs some water. Just kidding. I'm not going to tell her she needs water. But let's take a 3 to 5 minute break, and we'll come back and learn more about mental health challenges and how we can help and support so many others. See you in a bit. We are back. It's Mental Health Friday, talking about mental health challenges and how we can support you. Kelli's been tremendous. She's definitely educated, learning every week, learning how to support, serve, and help others, but support her as well. She's got a TV show, which she'll talk about here in a minute. But what I really want you to do is if you need a resource, go to her website, and I'll pull it up right now, and take a look and see how you can help. If you know anybody in need of anything, and this is her way you can connect with her, and I'll pull up her website too, and her website will be there. But it's not going to cost you. It's a foundation. She's building this powerful resource for you that when you have those conversations and you're kind of freaked out, like I've been in conversations, I now know what to do. I go right to her website, her foundation, and go, hey, I just talked to XYZ. I need some help. What do I do? I mean, knowledge is king, and this is a perfect way of saying that. So let's bring Kelli back. Welcome back, Kelli.
Yeah, thank you.
So I've got a unique question. You probably heard this, maybe not. You had a magic wand, and you can remove one thing with mental health challenges. What would it be and why?
I mean, if I really think about it and a magic wand, I think it would be just the suffering that people go through. And when I say suffering, I mean really truly cannot get out of whatever is going on. I never want anybody to feel completely alone, like they have no other option. And when I think about somebody really suffering, that's what I think of. And if I had that magic wand, because most of the time people don't want to die by suicide, they just want the pain to end. And if that pain could go away, although I think that in some way pain can be empowering, I still think that those that like really truly suffer and struggle with mental health challenges, that's what I would take away.
You made an interesting comment there. I don't know how many, but there are people out there that have died by suicide that just wouldn't done it.
Yeah.
Because of resource somebody, and this is the power of what you're doing. And I heard this a number of times through therapists and through you when I had on my show. It's interesting to me. We can solve this problem.
Yeah.
But the isolation part's the key. This leads to some comments on your website. Very interesting to me. And you don't know I'm doing this, so I'm pulling this up right now. So you wrote, well, the three words I want to talk about first: awareness, conversation, and education. Powerful words. What's the story behind that?
I was trying to figure out, what do we do? So when I first started my nonprofit, it was kind of a side project for me. I had my story. I had no idea what I was doing as a nonprofit. And I was really trying to figure out, what do we do? And I was just doing everything and anything that I possibly could. And I was like, I'm going to save the world. And then I realized once I jumped in full time in 2021, one, I can't save the whole world without saving my community. So I had to scale back significantly. And that was when I was like, okay, well, what do we really do? Because now I'm doing this full time, and I had to rebuild the business aspect. Like, nonprofits are businesses, they just have a tax status, but they should be built as a business. And that's where I had to get to understand what is it that we do. And that's where awareness, conversation, and education came in, because I was pulling all the things that I already did and then figuring out where they fit. And so awareness, we should all be aware that we have mental health. We all have a brain, but not all of us have mental health challenges. And there are certain things that help with our mental health, like travel, music, art, really simple things that maybe we do on a daily basis. So that's where the awareness piece comes in. It's like the alternative things that maybe you didn't think about prior. Conversation. This is probably like one of the biggest in addition to education, but conversation. what is the conversation that we're having about mental health? And that's where my show came in, is that we need to start having hard conversations. I didn't think I would be a person that wanted to have hard conversations, but I do now, and I love having those conversations. So the conversation about mental health in general, and then education, just getting people educated. We have multiple levels of education classes, and we're going to be adding even more, because I just feel like, at least like I told you earlier, I'm constantly learning. I don't know everything. And if I can find a better way to serve people, to really truly help them help others, that's my ultimate goal. And education is the way that we can do that. And it's not in the sense of school education, it's in the sense of like taking one of our mental health first aid classes, or up leveling from there and taking our breaking the cycle of trauma class. I want to add QPR, which is just suicide based training, and then even adding the assist program that I just recently did. I'm not looking to reinvent the wheel. I want to collaborate with people that are doing it best and become a trainer to be able to train my community. And that's where the education piece comes in.
Thank you. Two great points for people who are listening, because a lot of people listening are business owners, entrepreneurs. Do not recreate the wheel. If Kelli's doing something and you're in mental health, reach out to her and copy it, because you should give your IP away for free, especially when you're helping people's lives. But even besides that, and I'm proponent of that, everybody I talk, give away your IP away. I do free workshops all day, all the time. The second thing, you mentioned that foundations and nonprofits are a business. And unfortunately, talking to a lot of them, they have this desire like, I want to fix the Amazon forest, so I'm going to save the Amazon forest, because that's a passion of mine. I was there on vacation, and I want to help them. It's business. You can't just put this foundation up and go, hey, bring me millions of dollars. You know that. It's not coming. You've got to build on that. So that's what two great lessons this smart woman is telling you, because it fits in any business. If you're going to be an entrepreneur, you're running a business. You're not running a circus where you got to carry. You got to have all this stuff in place, which means you got to spend money to make money. Even in a foundation, you got to spend money to make money, and that's really cool. So on your website, sorry I went long on that, because
that's perfect.
Yeah. I love what you said. So you've got these comments, and I'm going to say them on your website. It gave me goosebumps. And I'm going to read them out, and I want you, to talk about it. I wish I had recognized the warning signs earlier. If only I knew how to support them before it was too late. I had no idea they were struggling. I felt helpless and didn't know how to offer assistance. If only they had reached out to me. I wish I knew how to help. I've been struck with this. That's why it's hit me right now. Is I've thought some of these things, and I felt bad, and I felt wrong, but I'm not. Talk about that and why I'm feeling this way and how to get past that.
Yeah, I mean, those came up so much for me even after my sister died, and I call them actually the hoodoo voodoo we do shoulda coulda wouldas. And I try not to live in that space anymore, but we have these thoughts, which I did too, of what could I have done? What should I have done? What could I have said that would have changed her mind? And I don't know, honestly. Like, I don't have the answer to that question, but I do know that no matter what you do, some people die by suicide, and it is not your fault. We do the best that we can with the resources that we have available, but sometimes we don't have very many resources. And so that's why I'm so passionate about the education piece, because for me, it has been a huge part of my healing journey to understand how I can help people now before it's too late, because I don't want any other family to go through what my family had to. And if I can train you like the everyday person that you are, you don't have to have a psychology license or background or social worker. You don't have to that type of education. You can be a mom, you can be a dad, you can be a parent, you can be a business entrepreneur, you can be a CEO, an executive, whatever your title is. We're all humans and we can help other humans. And that's where, when I put those on there, is that let's be proactive versus reactive. And that's what I hear from so many people is, I wish I would have known how to help blank. I wish I would have known I was here. They could have came to me. They could have asked for help. And the same goes with my sister, but she didn't. So how do we do better the next time? And we get educated, and that helps us be better.
Yeah, and I'm a faith man in God, and the reason I got emotional for a number of reasons, family stuff, but I got a call this morning. A guy I used to network with and do a networking group with passed away yesterday. Found him on his couch. He had passed away on his couch. Now, we don't know if he died by suicide or whatever, but those, when I started reading them, those are my first thoughts that came to me. You know, I talked to him 3 months ago. Maybe if I talked to him last month, he would have told me something. And it's sobering. It's a word that comes to my head. So thank you. You made me feel better is not the right word, but understand it more. I think understanding, like, awareness are huge, like you said, your 3 words, right? Mm-hmm. Let's talk about fun stuff. This is tough, but you did such a great job with such your positive attitude about this, because you're helping people, you've helped people, and you're going to help thousands of others down the road. I want to talk about your TV show because I was a guest. I think it's incredible. Talk about your show, mission, goal with it.
Absolutely. My show, again, it's called Make Mental Health Matter Show. I know I'm really creative on the names and using all of the same ones, but I bring professionals in the mental health space, advocates of mental health, or those with lived experience that have a story to share. Because what I have found, just like we were just talking about, is oftentimes we're not sure who to talk to, where to go, how to help somebody. And we have those questions pop up into our mind of, I wish I knew how to. And so that's what my show is all about, is me, because I'm only one person, not a we. I bring guests who are they're sharing their story. And most of my guests actually have a story as to why they do what they do now. And it's just really empowering. They give you tools and tips and tricks, and also just take you along the journey of whatever they've been through in this life. So I am also on E360 TV. My show is at 5 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, Mountain Daylight Time, whatever we are right now. But Colorado time, that's probably better. And it's every single Monday, and I am on E360 TV and Dream Vision 7 radio. So it is syndicated to radio. And every single guest that I've had has just become part of the family. And I love that I can access them at any point in time, and they can access me, and we can just help to help others.
What day is it?
It's on Mondays, every single Monday. Yep.
I'm going to fix that. I'll bring that back up. And a shameless plug, we're in the same network, Achieve TV. We're on the e360tv.com. And on a quick note, this is why, as a TV show host or a podcast host, share your shows with each other, because we get to learn you more. We get to promote each other and help each other. With the TV show and your foundation, how are you marrying those two together?
Yeah, it's all in that conversation piece. Our nonprofit, everything that I do pretty much is centered around my nonprofit at this point. But again, I do it full time. So I have my TV show, and I'm able to bring on guests that are in the mental health space, and then outside of the mental health space that also have a lived experience or a story to share. And so they go wonderfully together. The cool part is, and I know Steve and I were talking about this earlier, but if there's ever a sponsor for my show specifically, you're actually donating into Make Mental Health Matter. You're not donating to my show only. The money is going back into our organization, which is kind of a really cool perk for anybody that ends up sponsoring my show.
Well, you read my mind again. This is why I think we're sister brother from another mother. How can people donate without being a sponsor of the show, just want to jump on your website? Is that how they donate?
Yeah, the best way is you can become a warrior for mental health too. You get one of these really super cool shirts that you can wear around and show people that you are a warrior. And it's only $19 per month, which is 63 cents per day. You can't get anything anymore for 63 cents. So it's really, and that actually, I know it sounds like a really small amount, but honestly, the small amounts as they compound like help us the most. And it runs all of our programs. So 100% goes back to our programs. And you can come on my show if you have a story to share or you're an expert in the field. Reach out to me too and come on my show.
I think I donated, but if not, I'm going to donate again after the show. So audience, follow me, or if you're listening to the recording, follow my lead. I'm going to be a true leader and jump in and donate, because 10, 15, 20, $50, don't worry about your number, because it all adds up.
Absolutely.
And the universe changes as well. I got a fun question for you. I don't know how you're going to answer this. This is going to be great. If you're on a private jet, one of these millionaires said, I'm going to fly you anywhere. Where would you fly to? Just you. And who would be your passenger with you, dead or alive?
Oh, that's interesting. I would actually, my dream place to go is Ireland. I have always wanted to go to Ireland because the castles and all, I don't know. It's so funny because I always say that I want to go to the Jameson factory and the the Guinness factory. I don't know why. It seems like an Irish thing to me. And I was like, yeah, anyways.
Yeah.
And they're not factories, but still. And interesting that you ask who I would take, dead or alive. I have a couple little vials, I guess you could say, of my sister's ashes that I've sent all across the world when she passed, and they're in a little capsule. And the one place, it's gonna get me too. The one place is Ireland that I wanted to be able to take one of the last capsules that I have. So I only have, I think, one or two left. So Ireland would be that place. And I mean, if it could be that one person, I'd love to have my sister there with me.
Oh my God. Let me ask you this. So she's sitting in this private plane. You're going to be on a 10-hour, 11, whatever, multiple hour flight. What would you tell her?
I think, well, my sister and I, when she was alive, her and I used to butt heads like no other. And I think it's just more like I appreciate all the things that I've learned, especially over the last couple of years, because I didn't understand what she was going through, nor did I ever take the chance to listen or know. But coming from the eyes and the skills that I have today, I think the conversation would be much better and different. And I would be much more open to what she would have to say. So I think it would be a whole different conversation now.
This is a personal question. I'm going to ask it. Do you think she'd be proud of you?
I do. And I actually get that question pretty often. Well, not that one, but I get do you think your sister led you to where you are today? And I really, truly think she did. She always saw what I could do when I couldn't see it. So I really, truly think she knew what I was capable of, and she put me into this place.
What I know of you, I don't know your sister, obviously, but I could just feel you're leaving such a beautiful legacy and helping people with her tragic ending. You're able to help others so they don't have the same ending. And you can't help but, she's up there in heaven cheering on, the warrior for mental health. I think that's so powerful. We got just a couple minutes left. I want to thank you, Kelli.
Thank you.
I knew the show would be good, but you blew it off the charts. I hope people listen. I hope you listen to this recording. If you couldn't come on, a couple of people did show up. I'm going to share it with people as I talk to about mental health, and they can take pieces of that. But what's the last thing you want to leave anybody either dealing with mental health challenges themselves or have as a family and friend that is?
Yeah, I mean, I really want you to truly know, and I'm sure you hear this a lot, that you're not alone, but the intention behind that is that there are people out there like myself and all the people that work with me, and we really truly want to help. We want to be a sounding board. If you have nobody else in your life that will listen, reach out to us, or if you need support or any resources, we are here, and your life matters. I think that we can all do a little part in this thing that we call life, and we can simply be that sounding board for somebody to be able to potentially save their life. So, my quote that I always like to say is, if we open our minds, heart, and mouth, we can make mental health matter.
Not a better way to end this show with what you just said. Audience, we'll see you next week. It's going to be another great show. Again, support her website. I'm going to pull the website up again because I want you to support her. Oops, not that one. Not that one. That one. There we go. There it is. And let's take that one off because that's not you. See, we're doing live. So that's her website, makementalhealthmatter.org. Go donate if you can. If you can't, you know what? Go think about your network of people that might need help. Maybe it's not a mental health challenge. Maybe it's just a word. Maybe just a shoulder to cry on. Maybe just to listen, as Kelli said so well. Do that. I think this world will be in such a better place. We'll see you all next week, 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern. Together we serve. You all have a great day.